Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Foster Moreau, of course, we know is signed with the New Orleans Saints, and he's starting to do some of the media rounds. Now, for a while, the only media he had done was the Good Morning America interview with Michael Strahan. Went on with Adam Schefter on the Schefter pod and talked a little bit about what life has been like since his diagnosis with lymphoma.
It's been a bit of a roller coaster for me, obviously. Yep. Basically, I've gone through a bit of the ringer in terms of getting the diagnosis, fully understanding it, and moving forward from there. So they came back and they told me that I had a rare cell type of Hodgkin's lymphoma called nodular lymphatic predominant Hodgkin's lymphoma, NLPHL, alphabet soup, they call it. But basically, it shows up 3 to 5% in all Hodgkin's lymphomas. It's slow growing. It's non-aggressive, but it's still cancer, right? And so for me, that basically meant that I didn't have to undergo chemotherapy. I didn't have to undergo radiation. I didn't do anything other than this drug called rituximab, which is basically a protein that inserts anti-CD20 cells that targets the specific type of cancer that I had.
So it's phenomenal news. Didn't have to undergo intensive chemo. Basically has to take a pill. And he said right now he's finished that treatment, and here's what's next with treatment being done.
My schedule was looking like this. I finished Tuesday. I signed Wednesday. And Thursday, I was out running routes with my quarterback and my receivers and my running backs over there at the Saints practice facility at 7:30 in the morning.
It's amazing. Did talk about how the doctors wanted him to kind of sort of slowly ramp up and not be all in. But that's why we're able to sit here and talk about Foster Moreau participating in OTAs. And, for the Saints, it's a best-case scenario. And, Mickey Loomis talked about it, that, they were signing the player and the person, and they were going to sign him no matter what. But this is a best-case scenario for the New Orleans Saints on the football field. Obviously, for Foster Moreau, the person, the news of the diagnosis and the treatment is phenomenal. So that's obviously the biggest win. But just specifically in the football silo, it's massive for New Orleans because they need a tight end. This is a major acquisition for them. And dude's going to be ready for OTAs. I loved this, though. Foster Moreau explained why he decided to sign with the Saints.
The Saints called my agent the day after the diagnosis was given. So I did the physical on Saturday. They told me I had Hodgkin's. Mickey Loomis called my agent and said, we value him as a player, but more importantly, we value him as a person. And we would absolutely love to sign him to whatever deal we can, whatever you guys feel comfortable. And whenever he's ready to play, we're excited to have him. Regardless, we're going to keep him here. We're going to keep him at home. And for me, that spoke volumes.
It's pretty incredible. Here we are today talking about Foster Moreau, who announced his jersey number. Foster Moreau is going to wear 82 with the New Orleans Saints, if you haven't heard yet. And listening to Foster Moreau tell that story about Mickey Loomis speaks volumes about the culture of the New Orleans Saints. I'm not trying to be sappy or wax poetic, y'all, but one of the things we talk about with the Saints and have talked about ever since Sean Payton arrived back in 2006 was building culture. We've told the story a million times. There were veterans like Dante Stallworth and Wayne Gandy who were very quickly ushered out because they weren't bought into the new culture. When the Saints had their back-to-back 7-9 seasons in 14, 15, and 16, they had to remake that culture. And they parted ways with guys like Jimmy Graham and Kenny Stills and Brandon Cooks, productive players who they didn't feel were good cultural fits in that locker room anymore. And they rebuilt it around guys like DeMario Davis, who's just like the cornerstone, quintessential team guy, team captain. And it looks good in a headline. It sounds good to say on radio. But then you hear Foster Moreau say that, and that right there speaks, it screams from the mountaintop how much the Saints value culture and how much you can get buy-in from people and commitment from people when you believe in people. I'm not in any way, Yeah, I was just telling a story about Drew playing Miracle League, and I thought about this when I heard that quote from Foster Moreau. And sometimes when I talk about Drew, I know I just make certain assumptions that people know, but I realize it's been 9 years, and a lot of people, we've gained affiliates in New Orleans and Alexandria and television, WBTR, and a lot of people may not know. But so my son is about to be 9. We knew prenatally he was diagnosed and had a lot of medical stuff going on. We had to relocate to Houston. He was born at Texas Children's, and we spent 9 months in the hospital. He's doing very well now, and he's got a lot of special needs that will probably follow him his whole life, and that's perfectly fine. He's happy, and he's the joy of every day of our life, and we're insanely blessed. But going through something like that, I think, and I'm not an NFL football player or anything, but I've been at Guarantee Media here for 13 years now, and I've had plenty of opportunities to leave. People ask me a lot, would you ever leave Baton Rouge? Probably not. I mean, it would take a giant excavator to pull me out of here. And a big reason to that is you learn, in your lowest moments in life, you learn who the people are that really care about you and really love you. And on days when I can remember being, I did my show remotely from Houston. I think I missed 50 shows that year. I think the number was actually 52. And there were a lot of people in this building who had to pull a ton of weight because the afternoon drive guy missed 52 shows in a year. There was one day, I'll never forget this. There was one day I just started, it was the first segment of the show. I just did the first segment of the show. Erica, my wife, calls me, and she's hysterical. They had found an aneurysmal artery in Drew's heart, and it was bad. It was very, very bad. And I literally, in the first break of the show, I put the headset on. I told James Harrelson, I said, James, I got to go. And I just left after one segment. I just walked out and went to the hospital with absolutely no repercussions. Gordy was in his office, came down and just finished the rest of the show with no prep or anything like that. When that's the kind of, Flynn Foster was totally in our corner and everything we ever needed. When that's the backing you have, of course you're going to go to battle for those people. When that's the culture you built, and I share all that just to say, here's Foster Moreau, who's got a cancer diagnosis. He hasn't even signed with the Saints yet. They owed him nothing. They brought him here for a workout. They found the cancer diagnosis. Thank God they did. But they could have said, yeah, we're going to put a hold on this. We wish you well. We'll pray for you. We can help with any assets or any resources. We're happy to do that. But as far as signing you to the football contract, we're going to wait until we know more. And if you're clear, we'd love to revisit it. But we can't do this right now. It would have been totally understandable for the Saints to do that. But the next day, Mickey Loomis calls Foster Moreau's agent and says, we're ready to sign him, whatever deal y'all are comfortable. And we'll walk this path with you. You can tell me that guy ain't going to run through a wall for that organization? That guy's not going to be pot committed to do whatever he needs to do to make them win? That's why, man. You value people, you treat people great. That's how you build culture. And the Saints have done that, man. Despite, look, you and I, we can all have this conversation and argue and disagree over who they draft or who they sign or who the coach is, and the Derek Carr conversation. Are they all in? Are they just winning enough to be okay? We can have that conversation. The one thing that is not debatable is how much this organization values its people and values culture, and that is darn near impossible to replicate. That is impossible to fake, because if people have your back, and the Saints clearly have Foster Moreau's back, and that is awesome. So that was just phenomenal to hear, and I'm on every level. This story just continues to amaze on every level. His healing, his ability to be back on the field, the blessing of the cancer not being as serious as it could have been, not needing chemo, being able to be back on the field now for OTAs, signing with the Saints, all parts of this story, you just marvel at watching it. And it's good things for good people, which is great to see. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.